Ryan is standing at the kitchen counter on a Thursday morning, coffee going cold, staring at his phone. He makes $100,000 a year. He has health insurance, a 401k, and a mortgage he is technically keeping up with. And right now, he's watching a notification pop up telling him his checking account balance is $212, 11 days until payday. Ryan is not reckless. Ryan is not stupid. Ryan is, by every official measurement, a success story. And Ryan feels completely, quietly, embarrassingly broke. Here's the thing. He is not alone. And the reason is not what you think. My name is Shazi, and today we are going to answer two questions. Why does $100,000 a year feel like nothing now? And what number actually doesn't? Because there is a number. It is real, and by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly where you stand. Let's start with the story you've been told your whole life. $100,000 a year. That used to mean something, back when that threshold first entered the cultural conversation as the definition of making it. It genuinely was a lot of money. It put you in a clean, top tier. It meant you were fine, more than fine. It meant you had arrived. Here's what nobody updated for you. $100,000 in the year 2000 is worth roughly $175,000 today, once you adjust for inflation. So if you're earning exactly $100,000 right now and wondering why it does not feel like the number your parents described, here's why. You are not earning what they called $100,000. You're earning about 57 cents on that dollar. Same number on the check, different amount of life it buys. But that's just the opening act. Now, I want you to pause this video. I'm serious. Open your pay stub, your direct deposit notification, whatever you have. Find the number that actually hits your bank account every 2 weeks. Not your salary, the deposit. The real one after federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and if you're lucky, a little 401k contribution someone convinced you to set up and forget about. For most people earning $100,000 in a moderate tax state, that number is somewhere around $5,800 to $6,200 a month. Let's call it $6,000. Write that number down. $6,000 a month is your actual operating budget. That's the game you are actually playing. $6,000. Hold that number, because here's where it starts to hurt. The average American mortgage payment right now is around $2,100 a month, not in a fancy market, the average. Add property tax, home insurance, and the occasional maintenance reality check, call it $2,500. That is already 42% of your take-home before you have bought a single can of soup. Car payment. The average new car payment in America right now is sitting at around $735 a month. Used car payments are not much better. Add insurance, gas, and one repair you did not see coming, and transportation is easily another $1,000 to $1,100 a month. You are now at $3,600, 60% of $6,000, and you have not paid for food, utilities, internet, a phone, childcare, student loans, healthcare deductibles, or the Amazon habit you swear you're going to cancel. Groceries for a family of 4 now run somewhere between $900 and $1,000 a month at a regular grocery store, not a fancy one, a regular one. Utilities, internet, and phone together run another $250 to $300. That is $1,200 more. You are at $4,800 of $6,000, 80%, gone, before a single restaurant meal, birthday present, emergency vet bill, plane ticket, or any of the things people mean when they say they want to actually live. What is left is $1,200. That's the margin between Ryan and the $212 checking account notification. That's the margin between a $100,000 earner and feeling broke. And if you have kids in daycare, you already know that $1,200 does not exist. The average cost of full-time childcare in the US is now over $1,000 a month per child. So the math just ended. There is no margin. There is a monthly deficit being covered by the credit card. That is why your credit card balance is going in the wrong direction. Read that again. $100,000 salary, zero margin. Now, I need to re-hook you, because this is the part where most people want to stop watching. Stay with me, because the bad news isn't actually the spending math. The spending math is just arithmetic. The real villain is something nobody explained to you, and once you see it, the whole picture changes. Here's where it gets structural. The framing of $100,000 as a success threshold was built in a world where that income came with a defined benefit pension, where healthcare premiums were minimal, where a single income could buy a house in a normal city, and where college tuition was a speed bump rather than a six-figure debt sentence. Those conditions are gone, every single one, and the benchmarks never updated. What changed? The cost of the essential things, housing, healthcare, education, and childcare, grew at 2 to 3 times the rate of general inflation for decades. Not a little faster, 2 to 3 times faster. The things that are not optional, the things you can't Amazon your way out of, the things that consume the first 40 to 70% of every paycheck, regardless of how disciplined you are. Meanwhile, wages for most of the income range around $100,000 crawled. And the tax code did not adjust the brackets fast enough to keep up with inflation, which means more of your income got pushed into higher brackets, even though your purchasing power did not actually grow. You got taxed like you got richer, while you got relatively poorer. That is not a personal failure. That is a structural squeeze, and Ryan is standing in the middle of it in his kitchen, wondering what he is doing wrong. He's not doing anything wrong. The number stopped meaning what it used to mean, and nobody told him. So here's the question that actually matters. What number does work? Let me give you a framework you can actually use. And this is the part where you find out where you stand. Think of income comfort in 3 tiers. The first tier is the treadmill zone. This is roughly $80,000 to $120,000 in a medium cost of living area. You are covering your basics, you're technically making it, but you have almost no margin. Any emergency, any car problem, any medical bill that is not fully covered takes you weeks or months to recover from. You feel the paycheck cycle. You're running to stay in place. This is where Ryan lives. This is where tens of millions of Americans live, quietly. The second tier is the breathing room zone. In most parts of the country, this starts somewhere around $140,000 to $160,000 for a household. At this income level, after taxes and baseline expenses, you start to actually accumulate something. The emergency fund gets funded. The 401k contribution stops feeling painful. You take a real vacation without doing mental math the whole time. You're not wealthy, but you're no longer one bad month away from a bad decision. This is the number where the anxiety quietly lowers. Not disappears, lowers. The third tier is the optionality zone. This is different by city. In a low cost of living market, you might hit this at $180,000. In New York or San Francisco, you're probably looking at $250,000 or more for a household before you feel it. But the optionality zone is where money stops being the primary constraint on decisions. You can take the job you want instead of the one that pays the most. You can move if you need to move. You can absorb a layoff without catastrophe. You have options, hence the name. Now pause again. I mean it. Where are you? If you're in the treadmill zone and you've been there for years and you've been doing everything right and you still feel squeezed, you now know why. The number did not fail you. The story attached to the number failed you. And if you're hovering at the edge of breathing room and wondering why it still doesn't feel easy, here's the honest answer. Lifestyle follows income almost immediately in most households. The thing that gets people stuck at the edge of Tier 2 is that when income goes up, spending tends to go up just as fast. The mortgage refinanced into a bigger house, the car upgraded, the subscriptions compounded. The margin that should have appeared got spent before it could accumulate. That's not a moral failure. That's what marketers are paid to make happen. But it is fixable with one specific decision. And the decision is this. The next time your income goes up, whether that's a raise, a promotion, a new job, a bonus, you make a rule before the check arrives. Half of every income increase gets saved or invested before it touches your lifestyle. Not some of it, half. You still get to celebrate, you still get to upgrade something, but half goes into the account that's building the future margin, because the number that makes you feel free is not just an income number, it's an income number plus a cushion number. And the cushion is the part most people at every income level skip entirely. Ryan finishes his coffee. It's gone cold, but he drinks it anyway because that's what you do when you're 42 and you have places to be. He opens his 401k app for the first time in 4 months, bumps his contribution up 2%, and sets a calendar reminder to do it again in 6 months. It's not dramatic, nobody throws confetti, but that 2% compounded over the next 20 years is the difference between Ryan having options at 62 and Ryan still doing the math on his phone in the kitchen at 62. The reason 100,000 feels broke is real. It's structural, it's documented, and it's not your fault. But the fix is also real. It's not a lottery ticket or a viral side hustle, it's knowing what tier you're actually in, knowing what number you're actually building toward, and making sure the gap between your income and your lifestyle stays wide enough to put something in between. Where do you land? Drop it in the comments. Treadmill zone, breathing room zone, or optionality zone? No judgment. Half this comment section is in the kitchen with Ryan. And subscribe if you want the next breakdown, because next time we're going to look at exactly what the top 10% of earners actually do differently with the first paycheck of every month. It's not what you think. One last thing, and I'll make it fast. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. It's just the math made visible. Take what is useful, leave the rest. I'll see you in the next one.